Crying babies are reported to haunt bridges all around the United States, from Anderson, South Carolina to Monmouth, Illinois. Across the United States, crybaby bridges in rural locations are a popular destination for locals and visitors interested in the paranormal. These locations got its eerie moniker from urban legends that claim to have heard the cries of infants whose mothers had thrown them off the bridge or drowned them in the water below. It is reported that if one crosses a crybaby bridge late at night, one can still hear the child's cries of terror. But what gave rise to these myths? And how accurate are they, really? Learn all about crybaby bridges and the terrifying legends that surround them here. The United States is dotted with crybaby bridges. Some, like Kentucky's Sleepy Hollow Road, Ohio's Rhodes Hollow, and Ohio's Helltown Crybaby Bridge, live up to their namesake's reputations. Even though every region has its own unique folk tales, you'll find striking parallels between many of them. There are three main components of any crybaby bridge legend: a historical bridge over a river or creek, a baby, and the person, generally the mother, responsible for the baby's death. In most cases, the mother is in a desperate situation and makes the decision to abandon her child by throwing it off a bridge because she cannot or does not want to care for it. Some say you can still hear the baby wailing at night, and others say the mother's cries of anguish can be heard as she searches in vain for her missing kid. The mythology surrounding the Van Sant Bridge in New Hope, Pennsylvania, is a prime example of a crybaby bridge. A pregnant woman was allegedly shunned by her family once she discovered the pregnancy was unplanned. According to Atlas Obscura, the heartbroken mother threw her infant from the bridge and then committed suicide by hanging herself from its rafters. Crybaby Bridge, as it is commonly known, is located near Monmouth, Illinois. Wooden construction supposedly kept the first bridge standing for about 75 years before it was relocated in the 1930s. A new steel bridge carrying just one lane of traffic now spans Cedar Creek, some 4 miles outside of Monmouth. However, local youngsters have continued to spread the crybaby myth even after the story's supposed birthplace moved. One urban legend claims that a school bus full of elementary school students was swept off the edge of the bridge and into the water by a flash flood. It is supposed that if a car is crossing the bridge at night in neutral and starts to drift toward the edge, the phantom hands of those youngsters will push it back to safety. The children's fingerprints, according to urban legend, can be seen on a Cosria bumper if a little baby powder is sprinkled there. Bob Heiser, a paranormal investigator, looked into the myths surrounding the Monmouth Crybaby Bridge in 2001. Heiser, according to the Review Atlas, spoke with local retirees about their recollections of the bridge and disproved the claim that ghost children pushed the automobile by explaining that the modest incline of the bridge was to blame for the feeling. Because of the topography of the land beyond the bridge, this is an optical illusion. Heiser remarked, "It may not seem like it, but there is actually a very slight slope." She further added that the handprints sometimes seen on the automobile thereafter are not ghostly imprints, but rather human ones, formed by the oils people left behind after touching the car. The steel crybaby bridge was purportedly blocked permanently in late 2021 owing to safety concerns, although Heiser detected no paranormal activity there. Unfortunately, she was unable to test whether or not the original wooden crybaby bridge was haunted because its location has been forgotten by history. Monmouth is an old town, so there are ghosts here, Heiser remarked. For whatever reason, the state of Ohio is home to a number of crybaby bridge legends spread across its various communities. The one at Egypt Road in Salem, Ohio, is probably the most infamous. Similar to other crybaby bridge myths, one version of this tale has an unwed teen mother who was abandoned by her family after becoming pregnant. She then dumps her infant down the bridge. Another urban legend, relayed by WFMJ, states that a little kid once wandered into the water below the bridge and drowned as its distracted parents argued. Nowadays, some claim to have seen the ghostly figure of the father lingering at the scene, still looking for his child. There have been allegations of cult activity in the region around the bridge, lending credence to the eerie tales that have circulated there. According to WFMJ, a 60-year-old lady was strangled to death and her burned body dumped near the bridge in 2010. Locals who are in search of a good scare still visit the bridge, where they are said that if they park their car at midnight and beam their headlights towards the river, a ghostly mist will rise up from the water and come towards them. Some claim that if you go over the bridge and keep going down that road, you will eventually disappear. Creepy Cincinnati claims that at least 36 people have been discovered dead on another Crybaby Bridge in Ohio, located on Maud Hughes Road in Liberty Township. These deaths may have been the result of suicide or fatal accidents. Possibly inspired by these accounts, urban tales concerning the Maud Hughes Road Crybaby Bridge have propagated throughout the community. A female protagonist in one account dies after jumping off a bridge to avoid capture. There's also the urban legend that two people got their car stranded on the bridge. When he returned from seeking assistance, he found his girlfriend strung up on the bridge. Guests today report hearing horrifying screams and seeing mist, floating orbs, and phantom figures in and around the bridge. Many infamous Crybaby Bridge players have called Texas home. Legend has it that a mother drove her automobile over a bridge just outside of DeKalb, plunging her infant into the brook below. A similar tale may be found in Lufkin. A tourist who crossed the bridge in her automobile reported finding a baby's handprint on her window, as reported by Texas Escapes. Another allegedly murder-related bridge name is the Sarah Jane Bridge near Port Neches, Texas. A man allegedly murdered a mother and her baby before abandoning them in alligator-infested waters. There are tales in which the infant was named Sarah Jane, and the woman's ghost keeps looking for her while yelling, "Sarah Jane." In other versions, Sarah Jane is the name of the mother. In truth, Sarah Jane Sweeney Block, who lived to be 99 and whose children grew up, was honored with the naming of the bridge, as reported by the Mid-County Chronicle. In 1984, the Washington Post featured a terrifying story about a Crybaby Bridge in Bowie, Maryland. Beginning in 1974, a dirt path off of Lotsford Road became notorious as a place to dispose of remains due to its proximity to the Crybaby Bridge. Locals say 14 bodies were discovered on the road during that time, and another person was supposedly slain on the road but abandoned elsewhere. Once upon a time, a county cop in the early 1970s would turn around and locate either a prostitute from the district or a dope dealer from downtown. Many of the local families who live within a dozen or so yards of the bridge have also reported that they avoid the area after sundown. A 64-year-old local farmer stated, "I guess that's about the lonesomest road there is," after discovering a dead on his driveway. As the saying goes, that's close enough for me. Perhaps due to the area's long-standing status as a dumping ground, several urban legends swirl around the bridge. Some locals claim the Goat Man, a murderous half-man, half-goat monster, haunts the bridge in search of his next victim. Some people believe the bridge is haunted by the souls of infants who lost their lives on its span. Queen Anne's School, an Episcopal high school located close to Lotsford Road, released a county legend pamphlet in 1984, and the story of the Crybaby Bridge was included in it. On a moonless, starless night, the sound of a baby's cries can be heard as you drive over this bridge. Whether or not the stories are true, crossing a Crybaby Bridge means venturing off the beaten path. Dare you venture over one at night, whether it be real or not, haunted or not, because you might get frightened if you venture into the woods tonight.